Hi there. I've got another day off, not a lot to do today, and I thought I'd make another tier list just for fun. Again, these are really easy to make, low effort videos, and yeah, I've just got a day off, nothing really special going on, so I figured I would make another one. And this time we're going to dig into the Halloween franchise. I'm gonna go with the franchises I care most about, and this just had a brand new, very controversial installment in Halloween Ends. So we are going to dig into this franchise and see what we can find. Um, I tried recording this once, but it did not want to cooperate, so hopefully this video will. Just gonna reorganize these because all right. Yeah, let's just kick it off. I think I'll leave it at this uh S through D. So we'll go original Halloween S, you know. Obviously that's an S tier movie, no doubt about it, no question. Fantastic classic horror masterpiece. Um I think Halloween 2 is close, so it's either S tier right below it or A tier. I think I'm going to put it in S tier. It's up there with it, right below it. And they go together perfectly. I actually think Halloween 2 is more eerie and creepy. It's actually one of the most sort of creepy Halloween movies. It's also more violent. Um, but there is just a particular vibe about that movie that gets under my skin. I think almost more than any other Halloween movie. It's very hard to explain, but I think you'll see it or feel it when you watch the movie. All right, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, controversial anthology, standalone installment. When I first saw this would have been like D tier or something, but now this is at least A tier for me. I really love Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I think, like a lot of people, it should have just been called Season of the Witch. There should have been no Halloween in the title whatsoever. But it is stylish, it's clever, the ending is brilliant. Tom Atkins is wonderful. It's really dark. Like it's involves like children being murdered. And like millions of children being like it's really messed up when you think about it. And it's also kind of like the Twilight Zone or Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's got an amazing score, which kind of sounds like Halloween combined with the first Terminator movie. Like it just has a lot going for it that I'm glad that people are revisiting and rethinking Halloween 3 now because it's great. Halloween 4, this is where things start to slide for me. I know a lot of people really like Halloween 4. For me, it's okay. So B tier it is, I think. I think Halloween 4 is the best out of this trilogy, this sort of Thorn trilogy of movies. But I still don't think it's great. It just has that direct to video sort of vibe for me, which is just cheaper and a little bit forced. You know, Jamie Lloyd and that whole. I was never quite on board with that whole thing. For me, a real Halloween movie involves Jamie Lee Curtis in some sense, so to speak, or at least the Laurie Strode character. But it's okay. I can watch it. It's not horrendously bad or anything. Halloween 5 C tier, I think. Yeah, C tier. On this type of tier list with 5 tiers, it will end up in C tier, I think. It's like Halloween 4, but worse. It's like, yes, I can sit through that movie, but it doesn't do much for me at all. It's just strange and cheap, and you know, it's just not one of my favorites. I'm not on board with the whole thing. It just feels like one of those cash grab installments, very sort of generic, gunning for more money type of movies. But it's not as bad as Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, which either version for me is going to end up in D tier, I think, or at least low C tier. I think the producer's cut is slightly better than the theatrical cut, but it is still, they're still both pretty awful in my opinion. Like I don't get anything out of watching Halloween 6. There were some gory kill scenes. That's about it. Like it really does not do anything for me hardly at all. If that movie were to just kind of disappear off the face of the earth, I would have been like, okay, fine. I'm not a fan at all. Sorry. H2O is a very different story. I am a big fan of H2O, and I think that actually belongs in A tier. Low A tier for me. It's not quite up there with these three movies, but I love Hollow H2O. Recently rewatched it. It's very 90s. It's very Kevin Williamson. It's quite a short movie as well. It's only 90 something minutes, I think. So it really moves when you think about it. It really like almost wanted them to kind of slow it down a little bit. The movie could be at least 5 or 10 minutes longer, actually, because when it starts moving, it really moves almost too quickly. But it is a very good, successful return to form. Jamie Lee Curtis is great, atmospheric, stylish. It's got a lot going for it. Halloween Resurrection, D tier, no question. It's the worst installment of the bunch for me. I hate it. I wish it were never made. Jamie Lee Curtis wishes it were never made. Just like awful, cynical, horrible cash grab from, and it's very 2000s, and it's awful. It kind of sunk the franchise there for a while. Rob Zombie's Halloween, the first one. I actually think that's okay, so I'm actually going to put this right around there, B tier. I think it's a mixed movie. See what he's trying to do with it, which is to ground it in a more realistic sort of world and explore nurture versus nature and all that. He's not the best writer, which is the big issue with the movie. And then the second half is still just kind of John Carpenter's Halloween all over again, but worse. But I still find it interesting to watch. Like it's not great by any means, but I find it very interesting. It's like an experiment of sorts with Halloween, trying to push it and bend it and change it and twist it. And I actually kind of respect that. And I kind of like that, even if it didn't really work overall. So, okay movie, not amazing. Halloween 2, Rob Zombies. I think Halloween 2 is a movie that I actually quite like. So I'm going to put that in A tier, believe it or not. Very divisive. Some people hate it, some people love it. But I think that's kind of what you get when you have a movie where the director is just kind of going full swing, just doing their own thing for better or worse. This is very Rob Zombie. It's almost not even a Halloween movie. It's more like a crazy fever dream of violence and mental illness and tragedy and scarred, messed up human beings. But that's what I kind of like about it, that he really swung for the fences and really explored the idea that everyone is damaged. There are no perfect human beings. Everyone is flawed, everyone is broken, everyone's got issues, and he really dug into that. But I can see why it's hated as well, because it's very, very, very Rob Zombie. Again, he's not the best writer in the world, but I still think he's a very interesting filmmaker and he's doing a lot of interesting things. I genuinely believe that, which is weird to say. That I know a lot of people are like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not even true, but I honestly do think so. Like he's sort of like a hillbilly auteur, if that makes sense. Um, he's trying to do some very interesting, fascinating things, but he just doesn't quite have the chops to do it. But I still really, I don't know. I like and respect most of his movies, most of them, and that's one of them. Actually, quite like Halloween too. Halloween 2018. I love this one. This is, yeah, I think I'm actually going to put this in S tier. It's either low S tier or high A tier, but that's pretty much the same thing. So I'm gonna put it in S tier. I think Halloween 2018 was the only one of the new trilogy, the only one of the new David Gordon Green trilogy to really knock it out of the park overall. It's its own movie, but it's homaging the original in a beautiful way. They're trying some new, different things, but they're also doing very classic Halloweeny things, and I love that. I love that it's grounded. I love Jamie Lee Curtis's performance. I love the only thing I actually dislike about this movie is the comedy, sort of the forced, stilted comedic stuff, and the Doctor Sartain reveal scene is a bit bizarre as well. But even that's kind of grown on me a little bit. So I actually think if you remove the comedic element from this movie, it would be like, yeah, it's like right up there with the original. I know that's crazy to a lot of people, but I really love that movie. Like the overall approach to that movie is just so, sitting in the theater 40 years after the original Halloween, and you're watching that movie, and the credits come on, and you're seeing this pumpkin sort of reinflating itself, growing back into shape. It was like, I don't know, that whole ethos about that movie, really commendable and wonderful and fantastic. So I really think this is great. Like I genuinely do believe that that is a great movie with some standout flaws. Halloween Kills, on the other hand, oh goodness me, they really messed this one up. I think this is a really bad movie that's doing a lot of terrible things, but it has an amazing score. It's pretty well photographed, and it has some brutal, vicious kill scenes, of course, as the name implies. So it is like, I don't know, C tier, B tier, C tier. I still love that score. I love the ending. I love when he bursts out of that closet and attacks Cameron. From that scene on, it's pretty okay. But like, it is just so horrendously stilted and forced, and flashbacks and cameos that are unnecessary, and political commentary that doesn't work, and the acting is over the top, and it's got a lot of weird shit going for it. So Halloween Ends, C tier for now. It's not awful. Like, the score is great. I can listen to that score all day long. Michael looks amazing, great kill scenes, but that's almost all the positives I can give about that movie, which is crazy to me. Really messed that one up. Halloween Ends. This is the new one, the controversial one, and I don't hate this one nearly as much as most people seem to do. Again, it's Season of the Witch all over again. People really seem to feel that if the movie doesn't have enough Michael Myers on screen, then it's automatically a terrible movie. I don't agree with that at all. I've been through this with Jason. I've been through this with Michael Myers. I've been through this for decades, and I people always come around. They're always going to come around if the movie is at least decently well made. And I do think that Halloween Ends is decently well made. So I'm going to put it in B tier. And I think I'm going to put it right there. Somewhere around there. I think the movie actually, if anything, should have swung harder for the fences. It should have done more of what it was trying to do, which was kind of explore evil as a concept and in this small town and how it infests people. And it's just, I think the problem with Halloween Ends is that they went for it with the final movie in the series, or at least the final movie of this trilogy. So it's like way too late to be doing stuff like that. They did not introduce Corey earlier. They just took this hard right turn all of a sudden, and it's just jarring, really, really jarring. If you watch the ending of Halloween Kills, going into Ends, if you're doing a movie marathon, that is like a 180-degree turn. Spoilers here, but Halloween Kills obviously ends with, her daughter being killed by Michael, and she storms off. She's ready to get her revenge. And then in Halloween Ends, it's like 4 or 5 years later, and Michael Myers is gone, and she's like baking cookies in her kitchen. I get it. It's like, what happened there? But I do kind of see what they were going for in a way, and I think it is actually a very interesting, fascinating, different kind of movie, and I think it actually handles characters well, unlike Halloween Kills. Halloween Ends actually does what I wanted Halloween Kills to do, which is it explores evil in a small town. It's almost like he took that concept, botched it with Halloween Kills, and then he tried to do it again with Halloween Ends, but he did it slightly better. So um, I do actually kind of like Halloween Ends. It's a weird movie. I feel strange watching that movie because I'm kind of uncertain. Like, what am I watching? What is happening? Why are we doing this? But it's not without merit. It's actually pretty interesting and stylish and kind of atmospheric at times. But then, of course, the movie has to have a face-off between Michael and Laurie at the end. If I would have had my way with that, I think I would have at least implied that Michael's evil survived somehow. Like maybe through Corey, maybe through someone else, maybe through the mask, maybe Michael Myers or the shape is just this wandering thing that you know doesn't take corporeal form. It's not a man, it's not a body, it's not a person. Maybe it's just some sort of ghostly apparition. I know that sounds crazy, but it's something along those lines would have been interesting because it feels very jarring to have the movie do something for 95% of the movie, and then it's like, whoops, we've got to give give the fans an ending here. And then there's an ending, and you're like, okay, that was weird. So definitely flawed, definitely has problems, and I definitely see why people really hate this one, but I don't think it is as horribly awful as people make it out to be, at least in my opinion. So that's my gut ranking, I think. The best ones, top tier, great movies for me: Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 2018. Overall, really good ones that I really appreciate, even though they're strange and weird and off kilter. Season of the Witch, H2O, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. The ones that I think are just kind of okay. I appreciate them, but they don't fully land completely. Rob Zombie's Halloween, Halloween Ends, Halloween 4. Ones that I think are bad, but I can still sit through them: Halloween Kills and Halloween 5. And the ones that I think are really bottom of the barrel and I could just delete them from the history of the world: Halloween 6 and Halloween Resurrection. So yeah, that's been my gut tier ranking. Again, I know this is probably people are probably not going to agree with this, but that's okay. I think that's why you should make these videos, to create discussion. What how do you feel about the Halloween movies? This is how I feel. How do you feel? Why do you feel that way? Do you agree that? Do you think that Halloween Ends is an awful, piece of trash? Do you love Halloween Ends? Like, we need to debate and discuss and push and pull, and we'll see what happens with the franchise in the future. Will they reboot it? Will they stop making movies altogether? Will Michael Myers not be in the next Halloween movie? Maybe they will go back to that anthology idea again, which I actually think they should do. Like, now is the time to make more anthology movies for sure. But we'll see. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will catch you in the next one. I'm not quite sure when. I just do these sporadically when I can. So we'll see. All right, take care of yourselves. See ya.